Welcome to NAC TV Reads the Press. My name is Jean Forsman, and I'm one of many volunteers who help create programming for our station. You may be joining us online, Neepawa Access Live, WCG 12, Channel 30 Direct Sight Line, MTS, or Bell Express View. These broadcasts are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, and donations by viewers like yourself. If you enjoy what you see and hear, please consider supporting us by a donation or by volunteering. Contact our office at 204-476-2639 or NACTV at WCGWave, WAVE.ca. That's NACTV at WCGWAVE.ca. Now this is the Neepawa Press. Population boom in the land of plenty. The date is Wednesday, February the 15th. And following the census of 2016, the town of Neepawa added almost 1,000 people to its 2011 population figure. Overall, the Neepawa area saw population rise by 1,079 residents. The numbers are in, and Neepawa is officially one of Manitoba's fastest growing communities. On February the 8th, Statistics Canada released population and dwelling counts from the 2016 census. In the 5 years since census 2011, Neepawa grew by 980 people, or 27%. Overall, Neepawa's population grew faster than both the provincial and Canadian averages by 6% and 5%, respectively. Overall, Neepawa's immediate trading area also grew. Combined, the town of Neepawa and rural municipalities of Rosedale, Glenella, Lansdowne, and North Cypress, Langford added 1,079 people over the past 5 years. Only Glenella, Lansdowne, saw its population decline. For municipalities that have amalgamated since 2011 census, pre-amalgamation populations were combined to make the 2011 figure. Neepawa has been grappling with the challenges of a growing community for more than 5 years, and the figures didn't come as much of a surprise to Mayor Adrian de Groot. He noted that the numbers validate what they have seen and will help them as they seek investment in projects such as seniors' housing. Lots of decisions are made on numbers and statistics. Neepawa's Economic Development Officer, Marilyn Crew, also wasn't surprised to see the town grow. "I just didn't know what the number would be," she explained of the final tally. For her, the figures are very important. She uses them to help tell Neepawa's story to potential investors, some of whom have a minimum population threshold. She explained that not only does a higher population mean more potential customers for a business, but also more potential staff. One of the top criteria in business attraction is the availability of labor force, she explained. With many funding decisions from senior levels of government relying on population figures, getting an accurate population count during this census was important to the town. Crew explained that they worked with Neepawa and area settlement services as well as High Life Foods to help educate newcomers about the census and the importance of completing the form. Statistics Canada also works to ensure the most accurate numbers possible are recorded. For Census 2016, Neepawa resident Iris Cooting was hired as coordinator. With her staff of 15 people, they were responsible for the area between Glenella and Highway 1 and the Arden Ridge and Highway 10. She said they traveled every road in that area in order to get the forms out to all residents. "It's pretty amazing how it's all coordinated," she said. The census staff were responsible not only for delivering the forms to residences, but also for following up on any forms that weren't completed. I'm ecstatic with the numbers, including adding. I knew there was growth, but I'm so happy to see that much. Crew and DeGroote noted that the growing population has created some challenges in the community, making it harder to find housing, daycare, and school spaces. However, having higher official population figures and a rapid growth rate should help the town make its case to senior levels of government and private investors about the need for investment in not just those areas, but also in infrastructure. While Neepawa's population will officially be 4,609 until 2021, Crew noted that the community has continued to grow since May the 10th, Census Day. DeGroote says that he has talked to the Association of Manitoba Municipalities about the possibility of municipalities conducting localized censuses more frequently to track incremental growth. The next Census 2016 release will take place May the 3rd and will include data about age and gender of respondents as well as the type of dwellings in which they live. Now, the town of Neepawa has had 27% change, Rosedale 3%, North Cypress Langford 4%, and Glenella Lansdowne -5%. So the total for this area is 29% change, where the total for Manitoba is 6%. So we're well ahead of the game. The Louis Riel Day, which is on February the 20th, with a variety of events. I'm getting my tangle tangled up here. This year's Louis Riel Day celebrations in Neepawa are shaping up to offer something for everyone. Organized through the Leisure Services Department, the town of Neepawa's events will run from noon to 3 p.m. Leisure Services Manager Amanda Novak explained that this year all of their events will take place at the flats. Unfortunately, though, one event originally planned isn't going ahead. Only 2 people signed up for the snow sculpture competition. So she hopes to have enough interest to run it in the future. In the warm change rooms, there will be face painting and a craft workshop. With the change rooms tied up with these activities, Novak said they're asking that people lacing up their skates to skate with the Neepawa natives use the bleachers by the outdoor rink. The very popular sleigh rides will be returning this year, and there will be an extra special sleigh. Brad Mummery will be bringing the old school van he has restored. A ride in the school van will be a familiar memory to many area residents who remember traveling to school in this fashion. Not just to school, we traveled everywhere in the old van. This year, the town has partnered with Manitoba Foster Family Network. This group will be running the Snow Angel competition, which will run from 1 p.m. to 2:45. This event will give kids a chance to create and decorate a snow angel using non-toxic craft supplies such as glitter, food coloring, and twigs. There will be prizes for the most creative creations, and judging will be split into 3 categories based on age. The winners will be announced at 3 p.m. Louis Riel Day will offer area residents a chance to learn how to cross-country ski. Novak explained that they will use the south loop of the town's ski trails, which have been groomed and maintained by volunteer Brian Walsh. NACI has donated the use of their skis, and volunteers will be on hand to show people how to use their equipment before taking it for a test run. A lot of people don't try because they're scared, explained Novak, who added that this gives people a chance to try the sport without having to first purchase equipment. For little kids, there will be a toddler obstacle course organized by Muriel Gammy. For older kids, there will be Motion Zone, a a physical literacy program funded by the Doctors of Manitoba, but facilitated by Sport Manitoba, who brings out the staff and equipment. Motion Zone also came to town last fall as part of PD Day programming offered by the town, and Novak said the feedback was positive. The kids there had a blast, she said, adding that the focus is on games kids don't normally play in gym class. Thanks to volunteer groups and generous donations by local businesses, all of the day's activities are free, including snacks of hot chocolate, hot dogs, and cotton candy. While the town's events will wrap up at 3 p.m., that's the end of the day's fun. The Roxy Theatre is putting on a special showing of that weekend's movie, A Dog's Purpose. Roxy Board President Marilyn Dietrich explained, family, fun, and film sound like the Roxy to us. And once the suggestion was made to try this additional showing, the always helpful board said, let's do it. And the Riel Day showing will take place at 3:30 p.m. and regular admission rates will apply. Dietrich is hoping for a good turnout, saying, see you at the Roxy. Louis Riel Day is February the 20th. And it's going to be a great day. Now, looking back, Cecil Pittman's been busy again. There's a picture here of Sid Wilson 30 years ago trying out the new pool table at the Yellowhead Manor. Gee, it doesn't look 30 years old. Okay, 80 years ago, I'll kind of condense this, I think. Earl Murray went to Winnipeg with the Alec Russell Rink of Kelwood to take part in the Winnipeg Bonspiel. 70 years ago, Mrs. H. Petch won a free trip to the coast. She's a Franklin District resident. 60 years ago, an island in northern Saskatchewan has been named Dalton Island in memory of late Sergeant Gordon E. Dalton, RCAF, who was killed in action in 1943. The younger son of Mr. and Mrs. F.N. Dalton of Calgary, former residents of Neepawa. Gordon was born here in 1922. 50 years ago, a beautiful Plains Division school bus with 66 students on board was forced into the ditch Wednesday during a fierce winter blizzard. The bus entered the ditch at its steepest point, but by what is termed a miracle, didn't overturn. None of the 66 students were injured. 40 years ago, Jim Devison of Arden was elected to the board of directors of the Canadian Federation of Agriculture at the organization's annual meeting held in Ottawa. Mr. Devison represents the Manitoba Pool Elevators. 30 years ago, the building committee of the new Neepawa District Drop-In Center has run into delays caused by a steel strike and government red tape, with the result that the facility soon should be shortly open for business. At this construction stage of the $177,300 facility, most of the interior and all the exterior work has been completed. 20 years ago, the Access 12 amateur talent show last Wednesday raised over $12,500 for the local cable channel, erasing any fears programming cutbacks were in the offing. We're hot to trot for another year, said Ivan Trail, chairman of the local community cable channel. We're on solid financial footing now. Trail said going into the fundraiser, organizers were hoping to raise $10,000. He thought, not unrealistic. Alana Lewandowski won first place composing and singing her own songs. Second place went to NACI student B.J. Kobaki for his mime of golfing, while third place was awarded to the Nick Martin Combo, a rock band of NACI students. 10 years ago, police are calling it one of the largest drug busts in the area after 4 suspects were arrested and $15,000 worth of illegal drugs and cash were seized from a Neepawa home a week ago Saturday. Police displayed evidence, piles of $20, $50, and $100 bills, a scale, bags of powder, crack cocaine, and a book called Dr. Dealer. Police raided the home after obtaining a search warrant. He did not say what led police to suspect illegal activity. It was part of an ongoing investigation for several months. Okay, what have we got next? Opinion by the Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. 10 reasons the Bombardier bailout is bad news. Last week, the Trudeau government announced a $372.5 million repayable loan to Bombardier, who'd been asking for $1.3 billion in support for its C-Series aircraft since November 2015. While Bombardier executives are all smiles at this announcement, here are 10 reasons why this bailout is bad news for Canadians. Number 1, they don't even need the money. Last year, the top C-Series executive publicly stated Bombardier had secured all the funding required to ramp up the C-Series program and that federal cash would be really just an extra bonus that would be helpful, but is very clearly not required. Translation: we'll take free money, but we don't actually need it. Number 2, they didn't deserve the money. Bombardier has received more than $4 billion in subsidies since 1966 on more than 50 different occasions. The C-Series project itself ran 2 years late and $2 billion over budget. Money alone can't help overcome that kind of managerial incompetence. Number 3, their executives don't deserve it either. Bombardier's CEO, Alain Bellemare, earned a compensation package worth $6.4 million in 2015. Normally, how much private companies pay their executives is their own business. After all, it's the company's money, not taxpayers. But in Bombardier's case, taxpayers are subsidizing generous executive salaries. Number 4, other companies will play the game. More corporate welfare teaches companies to devote time and energy to sucking up to governments for freebies rather than focusing on their actual business. Bombardier had over 100 lobbying meetings in the last year. That includes Ontario-based automakers who've already pressured them to switch to giving them grants instead of loans. A healthy business culture should discourage dependence on government, not encourage it. Number 5, we can't win a subsidy war. Defenders of Bombardier often point out that their competitors are all subsidized, and that's certainly true, but that merely shows how pointless it is for us to do the same. Canada cannot win a subsidy war against the United States or the European Union, which subsidize Boeing and Airbus, respectively. Number 6, it might violate the international trade rules. It took just 12 hours for Brazil that's a home to Embraer, another of Bombardier's main competitors, to lodge a complaint with the World Trade Organization claiming that Canada might be violating trade rules that prohibit government subsidies. If WTO ultimately rules against Canada, it could give Brazil the right to retaliate, meaning pain for Canadian exporters in other industries. Number 7, it stokes regional tensions. When handouts are on offer, every region is sure to want its fair share. And in Quebec, the announcement is already being used by separatists as proof Quebec isn't getting its rightful piece of the action. Number 8, it isn't transparent. We don't know the repayment terms of the loan, and Bombardier has a long history of going to court to prevent information about repayments from becoming public. So Canada taxpayers not only get the privilege of giving money to Bombardier, they aren't even allowed to know if they're getting paid back. We have to borrow money. This is number 9. We have to borrow the money we're loaning them. The Trudeau government is already running a deficit of close to $30 billion with no end in sight. That means the money Bombardier is getting has to be borrowed, meaning Canadians rather than Bombardier have to pay the interest. Number 10, if we can't use it on anything else. Every dollar government spends has an alternative use. It might be roads, hospitals, or schools, or even, perish the thought, paying down our public debt or giving Canadians a tax break. Instead, the government has chosen a money-losing airplane company as the highest priority for scarce tax dollars. That was written by Aaron Woodrick, the Federal Director of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. Now we're going to Where Are They Now? The local author and sports historian Rick Sparling attempts to locate and catch up with the teams featured in Sparling's most recent book, Amateur Hockey in Neepawa, a scrapbook. Dan Caruth, coach, grew up in a farm in Pine River, Manitoba, and graduated from high school in Ethelbert. He went to Flin Flon and was brakeman for the Hudson Bay Mining and Smelting Company until 1973, at which time he began his career with the RCMP, his first posting being at the Winnipeg Airport. His postings took him to Thompson, Neepawa, and Dauphin, where he still resides. Dan married Betty Lesiak from Gilbert Plains, and they had 2 children, Shane in 1972 and Curtis in 1974. They have 5 grandkids. Dan worked for 15 years in security at Assiniboine College in Dauphin after retirement from the RCMP. He owned the Dauphin Brewers senior baseball team from 1993 to 2003 and currently watches a lot of his grandkids' hockey games. Ashley Denbo lives in Arden, but I was not able to get any responses from Ashley, and if and when I do, I will get his information into an upcoming column. Chad Brooking was a bantam age player in the 89-90 season, who Neepawa picked up for the championship tournament. He was from Minnedosa, where he graduated high school. He went to Crookston, Minnesota on a hockey scholarship and left for the University of Manitoba after 2 years in Crookston. Graduated from there with a degree in civil engineering, then went to Korea, where he taught English for 4 years, and in 2004 he moved to Calgary and started in the wastewater industry. In his spare time, he did some minor hockey coaching while in Calgary. He started his own company in 2007, and in 2016 moved to Switzerland, where he does wastewater work and also has projects in Nigeria and Kenya. Chad married Mandy Van Woesnow from Swan Lake, and when I asked him what he liked to do, he told me he likes to travel. Sounds like this is a good thing. Kelly Glenn graduated from NACI in 1990 and left for the sawmills in Castlegar, BC, where he stayed for a few years and returned east as far as Edmonton, working in the oil fields until he took up carpentry. And with a partner, worked on building apartment blocks and condos for about 5 years. He decided to join the union, Local 1325 in Edmonton, and got his journeyman's ticket for scaffolding. He was a scaffolder at the Northwest Refinery in Edmonton for floor constructors. Fluor, I guess it is. Constructors Canada. Kelly married Marge Brooke in Edmonton, and they have one daughter, Keelan, age 6. Kelly is an outdoorsman and enjoys bow hunting, skidooing, and ice fishing. Being a professional carpenter, his ice fishing shack is to kill for. The family also enjoys camping up at Lake Wabascal. Ian Cummings graduated from grade 12 and went to Sweden for 1 year as an exchange student. He attended the University of Manitoba and by 1999 completed his commerce course. Ian moved to Toronto and did some consulting work for the Government of Ontario and worked for a global marketing research firm, Market Probe, in downtown Toronto. He married Michelle Pong and they have 2 children, a daughter, Charlotte, 4, and Chase, 2. Ian still laces them up for the beer league he's involved with and spends time getting the children to their various events. The Cummings live in downtown Toronto. Jason Zagula graduated from NACI in 1992. He then went to the University of Manitoba where he earned a bachelor degree in engineering. He stayed on at the university to take his master's degree in science and engineering and graduated in 1998. He then moved to Wichita, Kansas to work for Cessna Aircraft, where he does engineering work for Beechcraft and business jets at the Cessna plant. He's been there for almost 20 years. Jason married Kim Wright from the McGregor, Austin, Manitoba area. They met at university and they have 2 girls, Lily, 13, and Hazel, 10. He played some rec hockey in Kansas and spends lots of time going to the girls' dancing classes and competitions, as well as doing some family traveling. Scott Byram graduated from NACI in 1992 and went straight to farming, where he still works on the farm about 12 miles south of Neepawa. He operates a grain and cattle farm. He married Jennifer Birch from Neepawa. She teaches at HMK School, and they have 4 children, Allison, 16, Shane, 13, Katie Ray, 10, and Carissa, 7. Scott likes to do a little hunting in season and spends time running the kids to their activities and doing some family skidooing. Brent Vince graduated from NACI in 1990 and went to work for an electrician in Carberry, taking his electrical apprenticeship, and after 4 years earned his journeyman's papers. He continued working in the Carberry area on various projects until he moved to Stonewall, commutes into Winnipeg to work for General Mills as their maintenance electrician. Brent has fathered 3 children, Kirby 9, Kevin 11, and Carly 12. Brent hunts, fishes, and water skis and follows his kids around to their various sporting activities. David Humany graduated from NACI in 1991 and went into Winnipeg to take an electrical engineering course at Red River College. Discovered that it wasn't what he was looking for. Then he went to Pearson for a couple of years, working at Lee's Service, a local garage there. He moved to Neepawa and went to work at Ben's Auto and bought the business in 1996. David married a local girl, Debbie Wallman, and they have 2 children, Jessica, 19, and Dennis, 17. In his spare time, David likes to take on anything with a motor. He and Dennis are into cross-country motorcycle racing and snowmobiling. Keith Wrightson graduated from NACI in 1991 and left for Sault Ste. Marie, where he studied natural resources from 1992 to 95, at which time he returned to Manitoba. He worked, excuse me, he worked at Newdale and for the town of Neepawa, working at the cemetery. He worked seasonal work at Prairie Forest, the wood treatment plant just west of Neepawa. He worked at the co-op from 1996 to 98, and then in 1999 he worked for Spring Hill Farms, now High Life Foods. Then he went to Carmen and worked for 4 years in the beef plant there, and back to Neepawa at High Life. And on to Jarvis Meats in Gladstone. He worked at Trail Meats in Neepawa and then for a third stint at High Life, where he is today. Keith married Lisa Kyle, and they have 2 boys, Kyle 17 and Trevor 15. He belongs to the archery club and curls a couple of times a week, and the Wrightsons live in Arden. Chad Yerricks graduated from NACI in 1990 and went to college in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, took a conservation course which he completed in Lethbridge, Alberta. During the education process, he did some work with the Green Team in Carberry, St. Malo and Brandon during the hunting season, and was also a resource officer with the Fisheries Department. Chad moved to Snow Lake, where he was part of HELTAC, Helicopters Fighting Forest Fires. Since all of these jobs were of a part-time nature, Chad, needing something more stable as marriage was looming, went for training in Regina to become an RCMP officer. After the 6 months training, he joined them and was posted to Whitemouth, BC. Whitemouth, Manitoba. I'm making this up. He married Jana Novak, and they have 2 daughters, Charlize and Courtney. Chad has had postings in Gillam, Thompson, and currently lives in Lee River District and works out of back to Bonnie. He spends his spare time snowmobiling and running the girls to their various activities. Neil Whelpton, assistant coach, graduated in ACI in 1987 and worked for the John Deere dealer in Neepawa from 1990 to 2000. From there, he went to work out at Spring Hill Farms, now High Life Foods, for 15 years and currently works for a farm near Wellwood for the past year. Neil married Marcy Kennedy, and they have 2 boys, Austin 18 and Hayden 15. His pastime is following the rodeo circuit, as both boys are into high-level rodeo. Whelptons live on an acreage just south of Neepawa. Mike Kraszewski, coach, came to Neepawa from Brandon with CP Rail and hooked up with Dan Karuk to coach the midgets. He returned to Brandon to work for Canada Post. He still holds that position today, 25 years later. He married Nancy Wicks from Melita. They met in Neepawa as Nancy's grandparents lived there. They have a daughter, Ashley, 29. Mike likes to hunt and fish, and he has seasons tickets to the Winnipeg Jets, so he watches a lot of hockey. Todd Lockerbie graduated from NACI in 1991 and moved to Morden, where he worked at the family's motel until 1995. At that time, he returned to Neepawa, worked for High Life Foods and for Stu Brees, helping out on the farm. In 2011, Todd moved out to Lampman, Saskatchewan, which is the heart of the oil patch. Where are we? Page 10. Here we are. He hauls oil pump jacks to the various sites there. Married Sherilyn Glauser in 1998, and they have 3 children, Callista, Brendan, and Miley. In his leisure time, Todd likes to do some fishing, tube boating, and is busy running the kids to their hockey in winter. Curtis Karuk graduated from NACI in 1992 and moved to British Columbia, to work as a house framer. After a while, he moved to Winnipeg where he opened up his own framing company called Structural Homes, and it's still in operation today. Curtis is married to Tricia Fedorowicz, and they have 3 children, Cadence, Taya, and Braxton. Curtis's hobbies include hunting, fishing, and he's involved in competitive rink building, and since winning a local one, is now entered in a provincial contest. Curtis also coaches minor hockey. Kelly Funk left for Portage after grade 12 to play for the Portage Terriers, where he played for 3 years, and then was traded to the Neepawa Natives for his last year of Junior A hockey. He moved to Portage again to work at Keystone Sporting Goods for 8 years and became manager there until he left for the PA, where he spent a year managing Source for Sports, temporarily got into the restaurant business in Brandon, managing the Applebee's for 3 years. Kelly came full circle, returned to Portage in 2011, is now a partner manager of the Keystone Sports store. He married Nancy Hill from McGregor, and they have 4 boys, Riley, Ty, Coy, and Quincy. Kelly keeps himself busy running the boys to all of their baseball games in the summer and their hockey in the winter. He's also on the board of the Portage Minor Hockey Association. Kaylin Brees graduated from NACI in 1991 and went to work with Schwann's, previously the Neepawa Creamery, for 9 years, then decided to go back to school. Went to Assiniboine Community College in Brandon for 2 years and obtained an agricultural business diploma. He sold farm machinery for Mayer Equipment in Neepawa for 2 years, and in 2003 went to work for Canadian Food Inspection Agency as a meat inspector. And all of his work takes place at the High Life plant just east of Neepawa. He bought the family farm from his father and has the comfort of living in the same house he was raised in. The farm is on the southeast corner of Lake Irwin, which gives him a splendid place to enjoy his hobbies of ice fishing, hunting, and fishing right out of the back door. He has a daughter, Taylor, 19, who lives in Newfoundland. Scott Hutchinson graduated from NACI in 1990, got a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Manitoba, married Tina Lessert, and they moved to the Northwest Territory, where she was a physician. Scott kept up the home front. They have a son, Perrin, 14, a daughter, Morgan, 12, and he continues to be a stay-at-home dad and does a lot of medical computer work for Tina. He still likes to go out on the ice, and he's been living in Oakbank, Manitoba for the past 12 years. Garnet Nelson graduated in 1982, went to Crookston, left as the fit wasn't right. He left after his first term. He came back to Neepawa, worked at Simplot and Carberry, Gwynn's Monuments, decided to attend Brandon University. He graduated with a Bachelor of General Studies in Marketing. He got on with an organizing group for the Summer Games in Winnipeg and the Pan Am Games in a similar capacity, and was offered a position as a fundraiser for the Royal Victoria Hospital Foundation. He joined the bid committee for the Vancouver Olympics, and after the bid was disbanded, he joined the Olympic Committee. He also worked for Cassette Sports Marketing Company and eventually opened his own business in downtown Vancouver, Score Marketing, which he is still operating today. He married Tara Phillips from Brandon. They have 2 boys, Ryan and Morgan. He keeps busy, still playing rec hockey, goalie, and coaches his boys' baseball and hockey team. Carl Kay, he was unable to contact Carl or any of his family. In addition was Jim Easton, who passed away in 2010. He married Donna Taihi, and they had 2 daughters. and she still resides in Boissevain. Bobby Birch went to Brandon University and taught up north in Boissevain and got married to Ashley Pruden from Lockport. And they have 2 daughters. He was the Boissevain School's guidance counselor and currently is teaching grade 6. Butch Pearson was absent from the photo shoot, but he graduated in 92 and moved to Brandon, went to university and got his teacher's certificate, and ended up marrying Lindsay Coop from Preston, England, and moved to England in 2003. They had 1 son, Matthew. He's a vocational leader for a team of assessors dealing with national standards for British schools in Germany, and they live in Paderborn, Germany. And Shane Knighty is everybody knows who Shane is. His hockey career kept him going all over the place and ended up in Boston once again, where he finished his career. He retired in time for the return of the Winnipeg Jets and became TSN's color commentator for the Jets games and still holds that position today. He married Michela Marchensky, and they have 4 children, Kinnan, Tegan, Jana, and Zayden. They live in LaSalle, Manitoba, and he likes to work out, golf, fish, and follow his children's activities. Now there's an article here about the water rate increase, which we don't have to worry about until next fall. Apparently it was a long time coming. The town hall, or the fire hall drawings are out, and that's something else that was a long time coming too. Miscellaneous stuff at the Neepawa Town Council. Buds and Bloom Daycare wants more space. Regulations for child care spaces are specific, so there are not too many locations that could be potentially feasible. There are designs for the Canada 150 Trail. There's an update from Leisure Services for the Canada 150 meetings and preparations. Summer day camp is slightly changed. Registration is set for March the 1st. There will be a basketball camp in August. Swimming pool improvements and repairs are in place, so the funds are in place, I should say. And the facility has also received a water safety grant that's expected to help offset the cost of staff training. Online registration is set for March the 14th. There's a fun run being planned for August the 20th. I'm sure there'll be more information about that. And the Neepawa Ag meeting will take place at the Arts Forward building on February the 23rd. Several speakers have been arranged for the day. Now, did we miss anything here? There's pictures of the 2016-2017 Neepawa farmers. Neepawa farmers are beginning their chase for a championship in the Tiger Hills Hockey League playoffs. The farmers will face the Cartwright Clippers in the best of 7 series, which begins on Tuesday, February the 14th at the Yellowhead Center in Neepawa. Start time is scheduled for 8 o'clock p.m. Head down to the arena and support your hometown team. Okay, over here, My Neepawa. Some of these pictures are quite interesting. This week's My Neepawa is a collection of historic photos. I'm trying to think how I can hold this up so you can see. From one of Neepawa's longest-running businesses, Ken Gwynn sent us these pictures of his family's business, Gwynn Brothers, Marble and Granite Works. The business was founded by William Henry Gwynn and his brother Ed in 1905, with William later buying out his brother's share. The Gwynn family sold the business in 1984. Gwynn Brothers is still in operation and now sits one block north of its original site, which is where Giant Tiger is now located. Now there's a picture down here. Gwynn Marble and Granite Works. Oh, there's 4 pictures all together. And if you look back behind here, there's a tree that used to be in our backyard. Okay, NECI Tigers fall in overtime to the Golden Bears. That's a monumental effort by the entire NACI Tigers. Came up just a bit short on Saturday, February the 11th, falling in overtime to the Burden Golden Bears 5-4 in the Westman High School Hockey League. It was a huge one for both teams. Into the 6th place in the standings, while the loser would end up in the 8th spot heading into the playoff. There was a 5-minute overtime session, with Neepawa nearly ending it by hitting a shot off the post just 10 seconds in. From there, Verdun grabbed the puck and headed to the other end of the ice for their own chance at victory. That effort ultimately was successful as they put away the game winner just 32 seconds into overtime. The win secured 6th spot for Verdun and a date with Bertel in the first round for the playoffs. NACI, meanwhile, has a tougher challenge as they met first place Killarney-Walwanesa Raiders. Playoff dates for that series will appear in the next edition of the Neepawa Banner. There's pictures here of the men's Bonspiel. First event, Munro Farm Supplies Limited, Enns Brothers Limited. Left to right, Alistair Scott, Ken Otto, Carrie McLennan, Jeff Stewart Skip. Second event, Neepawa Pharmacy, plays McLaughlin GM. Left to right, Jason Cook, Ken Urquhart, Blair Steen, and Kyle Swisco Skip. Third event, Gardwine to John's Electric. Left to right, Jesse Dirksen, Jason Dirksen, Harvey Jackson, and Kevin Paramore. Now, Neepawa's back in the playoff chase. After a disheartening 1-0 loss, I'm sorry, it could have been very easy for the Neepawa natives to simply play out the stretch for the remainder of the MJHL season. What the players decided to do instead was put in 2 incredible efforts and pick up a pair of much-needed wins. First, they collected a well-deserved 5-3 win over longtime nemesis, the Portage Terriers, on Friday at the Yellowhead Center. Followed that up with a 5-2 decision over the Winnipeg Blues. Now, they have a busy week ahead of them as they play 3 games, including 2 on the road. They'll face Dauphin Kings on Wednesday, the 22nd. Opening face-off is scheduled for 7:30 p.m. Neepawa will then travel to Swan River for a game on Friday, February 17th. And then close out the week on Sunday, February the 19th, with a game at the MTS Iceplex in Winnipeg versus the Blues. So, we'll see. There's this banquet. The annual banquet is Saturday, March the 4th at the Yellowhead Center. And actually you can get tickets at the Neepawa banner, the Yellowhead Center, and at the home games. You can confirm your ticket numbers by calling Ken Waddell at 204-476-6214. Here's a picture of Natives goaltender Evan Robert. He gives a souvenir to a young fan after Neepawa's 5-2 win over the Winnipeg Blues, on Sunday, February the 12th at the Yellowhead Center. Here's deterring deer diners. The deer have been making footprints over my front lawn, heading for my cedars, and they are so beautiful. I hope the snow melts so they won't all starve this winter. We're going to have a warm week. I think they might get some food from under the snow. Construction is underway. The site of the new Boston Pizza restaurant. That will be a busy place for a while. Now, there's an obituary here for Thomas Howard Medill. It is with great sadness that the family of Tom Medill announced his passing on January 31st, 2017 at the Third Crossing Manor in Gladstone. Tom was born on August 26, 1923 in the Cootehill County, Cavan in Ireland. When Tom was 4 years old, he came to Canada by boat with his parents. He was the eldest of a large family born to Thomas and Maud Medill. Tom's memory will be dearly treasured by his loving wife of 66 years. Tom married Elizabeth Leach on November the 20th, 1950. Together they moved onto a farm northwest of Plumas. Here they raised their 4 children and proudly watched their family expand. Besides farming, Tom held the position of weed supervisor for Westburn and Lansdowne municipalities from 1965 to 1984. He also served a number of years as a councillor for the Lansdowne municipality. Tom moved into Third Crossing Manor in 2014 and looked forward to his wife's daily visits. He was happiest when surrounded by family, friends, and good food. He lived his life by the simple rules of care for your family, work hard, and treat people fairly. Left to mourn his passing are wife Elizabeth, daughter Wanda, Paul Lowe of Stonewall, son Howard, Claire Medill of Victoria, BC, daughter Tanya, Dawn Kunzelman of Plumas, and great-grandchildren. Oh, did I miss one? Pat? Yes, Lauren of Medill of Brandon. Grandchildren and great-grandchildren, Madeline, Charles, Christopher, Tasha, Alex, Katrina, Connor, Ward, Drew, Isaac, and Aspen. Siblings, Celine, Jake, Gunther, Carol, Bob Bladen, and Bruce Medill, as well as many extended family members, neighbors, and friends. He was predeceased by his siblings, Daisy, James, Mark, Billy, and Florence. Funeral service was held Tuesday, February the 7th, 2017 at 2:30 p.m. in the Zion Lutheran Church, Plumas. Interment followed at the Plumas Cemetery. Now we can go back to, did we miss something? Nope. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Now we all have things that we are critical about and things that we're happy about. One of the things we should do is send it into the paper and share this with the public. Thumbs down. to the person who put up a newspaper clipping with discriminatory comments on it on the bulletin board in front of the Neepawa post office. Written on it was, "Send them back home," referring to a photo of a group of refugees. Everybody is entitled to his or her own views or beliefs, and that there is freedom of speech. But with all the hate and negativity happening in the world today, the least thing a person can do is to keep the opinion to oneself, most especially if it is offensive. As difficult as it is, one must strive to be kind in his or her own little way. Stop the hate. Spread only love. And that was sent in by Marie Perona, Neepawa, Manitoba. Would you like to send a thumbs up or thumbs down to an individual or group in the community? Submissions must include a name and must be under 100 words. We want to hear from you in person. Go to 243 Hamilton Street, Neepawa. You can fax 204-476-5073 by email news@neepawabanner.com. Now I'll repeat that for you. For thumbs up or thumbs down, 243 Hamilton Street, Neepawa. Fax is 204-476-5073. Email news, N-E-W-S, @neepawabanner.com. No space. Now for thumbs up. And warm and heartfelt thanks to Eleanor Nickart, Michelle Paswisti, and Ronald Santos, my caring neighbors on 5th Avenue, who generously helped to get my car out of the snow. You were all heaven sent to me that day. More blessings to all of you. May others be inspired and know more about the sense of community. As the famous quote of Martin Luther King Jr. goes, somewhere along the way we must learn that there is nothing greater to do something for others. That's sent in by Joanna Deere, Neepawa, Manitoba. Somewhere along the way, we must learn that there is nothing greater than to do something for others. What an awesome community we live in. Neepawa is the best. We, the choraliers, would like to give a big thumbs up to all the choirs and you, the audience, who attended Christmas in Song in December of 2016. What a wonderful evening of Christmas music to get us in the spirit. The proceeds from this evening went to our local Salvation Army Christmas cheer. This year's donation was close to $1,000. And that was sent in by Val Jarama, Neepawa, Manitoba. Anyways, this has been an interesting experience for me. It's not hard. We can use volunteers for many things in this NAC TV, which is our community television station. So please consider it if you ever felt like being a helpful person in a TV station. I volunteered. My name is Jean Forsman, and I'm a volunteer for NAC TV. If you want to watch this, you can get it. Where is it? you can see Neepawa Access Live, WCG Channel 12, Channel 30 Direct Sight Line, MTS or Bell Express View. Now, if you want to volunteer, contact our office at 204-476-2639 or NACTV at wcgwave.ca.